Kuman offers help in lawyer probe.
On the balance, there's a lot of good lawyers.
Government looks at expanding main towns and cities. And POM 2015 Games Village open for business.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. This is Monday's news. President of PNG Law Society, Peter Kuman, says the auditing of private law firm accounts is a precondition for renewing their licenses. Mr. Kuman was responding to comments made by Chairman of Task Force Sweep, Sam Coim, about lawyers' trust accounts used as vehicles of money laundering. The President says those comments by Coim are incorrect and this should not apply to lawyers who uphold the legal profession. This comes after two prominent lawyers made comments in a secret video recording aired on Australia's SBS Dateline program.
After releasing a statement last week, PNG Law Society's President Peter Kuman agreed to be interviewed on camera. Kuman is also the owner and principal of Kuman Lawyers. He responded to remarks made by Chairman of Task Force Sweep, Sam Coim, last week.
The private lawyer is supposed to submit annual returns to the Law Society, and the Law Society has to appoint an inspector to verify those annual returns. Whether in practice that is done or not is something that I can't comment.
He says the society is not only responsible for ensuring that lawyers maintain their professionalism, however also has a responsibility to respect and protect rights of its members.
On the balance, there's a lot of good lawyers, both national and foreign lawyers who practice in this country, whose conduct are impeccable. They practice law with honor and distinction, and in accordance with the oath that they have taken when admitted to practice law in this country, which is to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law.
The President said the Council members have passed a number of resolutions on the serious comments made by the two prominent lawyers. However, he said people should take into consideration that no crime has been committed. When welcoming the Prime Minister's call for an investigation, Mr. Kuman requested to be part of the investigating team to represent the interest of the two lawyers. He said the society has a duty towards its members, including the two lawyers.
Being that we have a duty to protect the profession, and we also have a duty to protect the two lawyers that are the subject of the investigation.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has called for an investigation into the comments made by the lawyers. The Prime Minister in a statement said PNG is part of the global and legal economic system where illegal practices of the past can be identified and dealt with. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
Lae Secondary School's administration stopped another fight, school fight that is, from escalating at Eriku late this afternoon. The standoff happened after students from the Bugandi Secondary School began mobilizing at 11 a.m. to attack Lae Secondary students. Lae Secondary students were accused of assaulting a Bugandi student last Friday. Lae Secondary School Principal Christopher Raymond and his deputy Dennis Mial were both at Eriku this afternoon to help contain the situation from getting worse. Concerned parents teamed up with police to stop the fight. The national government is looking at expanding the main towns and cities in Papua New Guinea through the National Land Development Program. Using the land reform, the government will bring customary land into the provincial physical planning areas under the Physical Planning Act and use it for urban development. Discussions are currently underway to expand Mount Hagen, Kokopo and Alatau.
The decision to expand towns and cities follows the increase in rural to urban migration and the demand for more government services. According to research by the National Research Institute, most state land in provincial capitals have established services or businesses already operating on them, leaving no more land for further investments. In Western Highlands, the NLDP team, consisting of Lands and Treasury Departments, Office of the Chief of Justice, and other respective state bodies, are eyeing the Kumkopi local level government in Hagen Open to expand Mount Hagen.
Expansion go city, Mibla must go outside now. Kisim ground or Moge or Jiga or Yamaga. This like ground Mibla must kiss him, put him inside the city boundary in a walking expansion program. Go. So having the town here, you help the development of Hagen town through your own land.
In Milne Bay, the Torikwa Incorporated Landowner Group was already brought into Alatau's physical planning area and allowing the customary land to be on lease.
I strongly want the government to push throughout the country empowerment of customary landowners through the voluntary customary land registration process.
In a number of discussions between government offices, business houses and customary landowners, NRI Director Dr. Charles Yala emphasized the examples of bed town planning in PNG. Dr. Yala identified Port Moresby in the National Capital District and Oskins in West New Britain as examples of poor town planning. He further explained that the poor town planning has forced people to build residential houses on industrial zones or vice versa. An NLDP team will be trying to avoid these mistakes in the physical planning areas it creates for other provincial towns. Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The Morobe Provincial Regional Command has been struggling with logistics to police 8 rural districts in one of the country's biggest provinces. The man in charge of managing police resources to carry out this task, Provincial Police Commander Kaiglo Ambane, says a windfall of funds is needed to increase the regional command reach into the 8 districts. Police operations need more vehicles and manpower.
Today, at the official presentation of vehicles to the Morobe Police Command, Chief Superintendent Kaiglo Ambane says logistics and manpower have been areas the police force is focusing in improving on. The command needs vehicles to deploy manpower and carry out patrols in the remote areas of the Morobe province.
We still have Morobe Provincial Fraud unit still yet to get one. And then administration, so at least we need another 3 vehicles for this EPHQ.
According to the UN standards, Chief Superintendent Kaiglo Ambane says the standard ratio of a policeman or woman should be 1 to 445. Morobe has slightly over 400 police personnel maintaining law and order across its 8 districts.
2 districts, Nawai and Huen districts, they don't have a role district police stations. So this unit here, they normally serve them.
The 3 new patrol vehicles will add to the existing 2 vehicles present at the Provincial Command. The PPC said the Provincial Command would be improved in the years to come, but it will only happen if funding is made available to improve logistics and infrastructure, including a new regional headquarter. The present headquarter is a rental office leased from the Morobe Regional Works Division for the past 30 years. Colin Barilai, National EMTV News, Leh.
Meanwhile, Morobe Provincial Police Commander Kaiglo Ambane says recapturing the 70 Buimo escapees still at large will put a strain on police resources. Chief Superintendent Ambane said today that the Regional Police Command will need funding to carry out operations in the rural districts to find the escapees. The provincial and district administration's purse often fund police operations in Morobe's rural districts. From the jail breakouts on the 15th of this month, 59 escapees are still at large. 2 weeks ago, 11 more escaped, bringing the total number of escapees still at large to 70.
It's unfortunate for us. We don't have the resources, funding to go out there. We normally rely upon the provincial administration and the district administration. So because of all those past years, at the time when we arrest those suspects, they were the ones that assisted us to arrest those suspects. Now we are going back again to ask them to help us to go to the districts to arrest them. So we spend a lot of money on policing instead of other sectors. We have other sectors like agriculture and education, other sectors.
Well, on a brighter note, Link PNG made history today with an all-female operating crew. The flight to Tabubil, Western Province, was commanded by Captain Beverly Paki. Their story represents a changing industry and a realistic growth in gender diversity.
This image pictures by Air Niugini cabin standards trainer Elizabeth Talum show the female operating crew. Talum observed this unique scenario, saying it was truly beautiful and safe, just like the picture. Air Niugini subsidiary company Link PNG's flight PX 900-901 is recorded in International Airlines history, operated by the first all-female aircrew, led by Captain Beverly Paki, First Officer Nicole Koleala, and cabin crews Julie Tamdodo, Ulato Ave, and Vea Piranu departed Port Moresby for Tabubil. Link PNG Chief Executive Officer Captain Daniel Wanma said a milestone achievement for women because for the first time, all Papua New Guinean female Link PNG crew flew a scheduled flight. For the all-women crew, it's an experience to remember, to be able to say they did for only once. Not that it's better, just different, and probably won't happen again for some time. Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News tonight. Coming up next, Hyde's landowners stage peaceful protest and new Development Authority members sworn in for Usinabundi District. Stay with us for that and more. Good to have you back with National EMTV News. Well, week 13 and the All Search Pacific Games relay was in its last outer provinces before arriving in the nation's capital, visiting the districts of Central Province. Here are the highlights captured by relay team member Madness Photography.
The team flew up to Goilala district and made surprise visits to the communities of Waitape and Fane. They were welcomed at Tapini, where the community put on a great relay and show complete with people lining up across the main oval, spelling out Team PNG. The relay then flew down to Berena, then travelled along the Hiritano Highway to Hisiu, where the baton was met by Sing Sing and choir groups. Thursday, the baton headed up to the Sogeri Plateau and visited Owens Corner and Verarata National Park and was celebrated at the Sogeri National and Yarawari High Schools before Governor Hauda formally welcomed the baton into Central Province. Friday, the team drove down to Abao District and ran through the amazing stilt village of Wanigela, before being taken by traditional double-hulled canoes across Marshall Lagoon to the villages of Kelaroko and then by racing canoe to Gavone. A relay into Kupiano with thousands of children and a warm welcome by Sir Pukatemu completed the day. Saturday, the baton traveled through Rigor district, including stops at Kwikila and Hood Lagoon, where many past sporting heroes were in attendance to be part of the relay. From there, the relay passed into Hiri district, where it was welcomed by the villagers of Gaira and Tubuseria, with relay, song and dance. The All Search Pacific Games relay has now traveled over 36,000 kilometers across 21 provinces of PNG, and over 625,000 people have experienced the relay. The All Search Baton relay continues.
A peaceful protest march was staged this morning at Hydes in the Hela province by landowners of the PNG LNG project regarding outstanding benefits. Landowners of Hydes Petroleum Development Areas 1 and 7 are protesting over delays in their royalty payments and outstanding business development grants worth 19 million kina. The protest was staged outside the LNG conditioning plant and lasted for about 6 hours before representatives from ExxonMobil addressed the landowners. The developer is aware of the protest and maintains that it has met all its commitments under the project agreement and the Oil and Gas Act. The landowners have given the government a week to respond to their demands. A cold case between complainants Gregory Coim and Nixon Coy has been revived at the Waigani courthouse after 25 years. The case initially referred to charges laid against Hagen businessman Nixon Coy for the alleged illegal acquisition of land owned by the National Council of Young Men's Association of PNG in the Western Highlands province. The matter was brought before the National Court again on June the 10th, where it was struck out based on technical grounds. This morning, the case was adjourned to July 24th due to incompetency of arresting officers, misinterpretation of witnesses, and errors in court documents. Complainant Koim described this as miscarriage of justice and has gone to the courts again. Meanwhile, Usinobundi District has sworn in its new District Development Authority members. Commissioner of Health during the swearing-in ceremony was Deputy Provincial Administrator Peter Torot. The Usinobundi DDA is headed and chaired by the local MP Anton Yagama. Over the weekend, the DDA members had their first meeting and outlined plans to improve services for the district. Members include Joseph Guasilu, Victor Managi, Eliza Kass, Sarah Nemon, Pastor Peter Dimo, Pastor Robinson, and Augustine Koroma. Well, this year's Pacific Games is expected to be the biggest and most active event on social media. Photos and highlights of the Games are expected to dominate Facebook and other social media outlets.
Already, internet service providers and mobile telecommunication companies are making sure their service is reliable and effective during the game's duration. It is expected that more people will be engaged in social media at the game's venues to update their families, friends and relatives about this biggest event in the region, the Pacific Games.
Our internet cost, I would say, is still very affordable. Is that when you use our data plans, they last longer.
B-Mobile Vodafone, the official mobile service providers for the Games, has already set up telecommunication towers at the Games Village, the Sejongais BSP Stadium, Bisini and Taroma Indo Complex. Chief Marketing Officer Prag Panjwani says the company has offered international visitors a competitive rate for calls and text messages to their families overseas with special data packages for internet and social media users at the same rate as local users.
So during the games, what we've done is we've reduced our rates for international calls because we're celebrating the Pacific countries. So normally you would have paid much higher rates to call any of these Vanuatu or Fiji or New Caledonia or any of these countries. But with the Games special pack, you can call these for much lesser.
Games officials were given 3,700 free B-Mobile Vodafone SIM cards. The company is boosting up network connectivity in sporting venues. With this initiative, Facebook users are expecting high-speed internet and no calls congestion at all main games venues. This makes these Pacific Games, starting on Saturday, the biggest event ever to dominate the social media. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
And now we check out the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.3645 in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, our Kina was trading at $0.3570 $0.4649 Australian dollars, $0.3207 euro, and 43.34 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and copper closed lower, while cocoa closed the day higher. Meanwhile, palm oil, crude oil and copper all closed the day lower. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 57 points higher, the ASX closed at 8 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 9 points higher. Stay tuned, you're watching National EMTV News Tonight. We'll bring you more of the day's other top stories when we return. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. In the autonomous region of Bougainville, President Chief Dr. John Momis has directed the ABG Chief Secretary, Monavi Amani, to repair the Bougainville Public Service. Momis says this is to ensure the Bougainville Public Service delivers on the autonomous government's expectations based on key performance indicators.
In his presidential address to the public servants recently, Momis highlighted time is the worst enemy as we have less than 5 years under this autonomous arrangement to develop the capacity, formulate appropriate policies, pass necessary legislations, and draw down on powers to administer services to the people of Bougainville. Momis said the ABG wants an effective and efficient public service serving the government's interest and for public servants to perform. Enough is enough, and the directives shape up or ship out is for Chief Secretary Monavi Amani and the senior management team and administration to immediately repair the public service. Momis said public servants should be asked to exert if they fail to perform and comply with government directives. Public servants must perform against the targets set, which he highlighted in this year's 10th anniversary speech.
The situation must change now under the new House, so reform of the public service will continue. I will resume efforts to establish an office of the PNG Ombudsman to work with us to establish the highest standards of conduct for leaders and public servants.
A task for the autonomous Bougainville government is to weed out corruption within the public service. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The USNS Mercy ship under the Pacific Partnership Mission 2015 is now in the autonomous region of Bougainville. The hospital ship arrived with more than 900 personnel, including volunteers from 8 non-governmental organizations and the U.S. Agency for International Development. While in Arawa, personnel will work and train side by side with the community on civic service events, women's leadership and safety topics, medical and veterinary care. Medical professionals, engineers and volunteers will be operating on site for 7 days until the 3rd of July. Work started on Saturday since the ship arrived, with doctors and nurses screening patients who have been registered. The opening up of rural roads is vital for all communities around the country. For the Usinobundi district, the Pandamba-Yandra Road is now a vital link for the people. A sum of 100,000 kina was presented to Kaya Works Limited recently for more upgrade and maintenance.
The Usinobundi district is prioritizing rural roads as a key infrastructure for other developments to ride on. MP Anton Yagama says maintaining and improving current road networks is a must for the district where the bulk of the people live.
Road is the foundation. Without road, nothing can happen. And this year we're spending about 40 to 50% of our budget on improving the roads in the Usinobundi electorate.
The district is one of the remote places in Medang, but the district administration believes road can link people and allow them to sell their produce and other items.
It's a very important economic road for us because now that the exploration is in its advanced stage, we should be seeing a lot of developments taking off very shortly. So,
a check of 100,000 kina was presented to Kaya Works Limited for the maintenance of the Pandambai Road and also giving access for the Yandara people.
One time now I'm walking by Gosala Yandara, now I'm come na Toksala Yumi. This la Simbu come go Medeng Road and by Goyet na Yumi by Peninsula Road.
The district wants to improve its rural roads because of its remoteness and also link these to national roads to nearby provinces of Simbu and Western Highlands. Jaklapava Junior, National EMTV News.
Well, coming up next in Trukai Sports, Games Village opens its doors. Stay tuned for that.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Well, the Games Village is now ready to be occupied by over 4,000 athletes and officials from around the Pacific. With just 5 days remaining till the opening of the 2015 Pacific Games, Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister Peter O'Neill officially opened the village this morning. MTV's Lorraine Genia was at the opening.
Now, in his opening remarks, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill congratulated all stakeholders involved in delivering these venues, particularly the Games as well, also assuring these Games will certainly set the standard.
We've been opening up many of the facilities, including the Tarama Pool. Last week we opened the Sir John Guy Stadium. Yesterday the Minister opened the Bisini Parade. This afternoon we are going to open the international expansion of the airport, which is all becoming a world-class infrastructure. You can go anywhere in the world and you can compare this infrastructure and be proud that your country has got similar infrastructure.
Returning back to Port Moresby, Vice President of the Pacific Games Council, Andrew Minogue, was also pleased with the progress of the venues, particularly the Games Village, saying Papua New Guinea has without a doubt taken it one step further.
Right behind the Games,
and now we can see it coming to fruition. It's outstanding. We're at the Games Village today. The first impressions are very, very positive. The accommodation is excellent, the food is excellent, and as the athletes arrive over the next couple of days, they're going to enjoy it for sure. With the Games Village ready for occupation, all Pacific Island nations participating in the Games will be arriving from Wednesday onwards. Prime Minister O'Neill wishing all athletes well and, again, boosting Team PNG's morale.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll be out there barracking for them, number one, supporting them all the way through. So we look forward to that.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill wishing Team PNG well, also urging the whole nation to get behind Team PNG as of Saturday, the 4th of July. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
And on a related topic, with the Pacific Games opening ceremony just days away, advance parties for participating countries arrived today in Port Moresby. The New Zealand under-23 men's soccer team arrived today alongside members from New Caledonia and Australia.
It's been another hectic day here at the Jacksons International Airport as members of the Pacific Islands advanced teams arrive here in the nation's capital.
New Caledonia was the first to arrive, with team manager Michelle Quinton optimistic of a strong performance by the team at the Games.
Yeah, of course we are ready, ready to compete, and we've got quite a strong delegation with 329 athletes. So they are coming. The first are coming on Wednesday, and the second part on next Saturday, just before the opening.
However, he admits Team PNG will be tough to beat on home soil.
So yeah, we know that the team PNG will be really, really strong here. So we want to to have competition, and but I think we are an outsider. The favorite are the PNG team.
Also arriving today was New Zealand's under-23 men's soccer team, who will be using the Pacific Games as a qualifier for the Rio Olympics.
We want to qualify for the Olympics, so to come here and be a part of it is good. But we want to qualify for the Olympics.
Australia's advanced team also arrived today, led by chef de mission and two-time Olympic gold medalist in sailing, Malcolm Page.
It's very exciting to be here in Port Moresby and to obviously be our very first Pacific Games. We're making history, and not only are we making history, but we're making history in a great country like PNG, who has a lot of ties to Australia and has a lot of history with Australia. So it's really exciting to be here.
More teams are expected to arrive in the coming days. Daryl Muka, National EMTV Sports.
After the break, True Guy Sports continues with a wrap-up of NRL Round 16 action. Stay with us.
True Guy Sports.
Good to have you back with True Guy Sports. Well, the SPPNG Hunters defeated the Central Queensland Capras with a massive scoreline of 68 points to 4 at Colorbond Oval yesterday afternoon. The Hunters wasted no time scoring in the 7th minute and continued to pile on the points throughout the match. The Hunters now sit on the second spot of the Intrust Super Cup ladder and have their sights set on the finals. Well, round 16 of the NRL saw the Rabbitohs thrash the Sea Eagles in Friday night football. The round also saw the Warriors, Eels and the Roosters victorious. The Cowboys were shocked by the Sharks as they came from behind to win 24 points to 18.
The Brisbane Broncos grabbed a huge win over the Newcastle Knights 44 points to 22 at Suncorp Stadium.
But the pass that was a cracker was from Darius Boyd, and the Broncos...
The win sees the Broncos extend their lead at the top of the NRL points ladder.
Beautiful work, Hodges. Moran over the corner. What a magnificent piece.
The Sydney Roosters just did enough to get over the struggling Gold Coast Titans. Although having a full-strength team, the Roosters' performance was below par.
Flat to Tupou, back inside, Titans scrambling.
But in the end, they held off the Gold Coast Titans to win the match 20 points to 10.
Has given it to Jennings with room. Jennings will go close. Jennings has got to the in goal. Don't make the challenge.
Sunday afternoon football saw the Panthers outclass the Tigers 35 points to 12 at Leichhardt Oval. 4 tries to David Simmons exploited the mismatch on the Panthers' right-hand side where he dominated.
And it's come along the line out here for Simmons. David Simmons gets it down.
The Panthers proved to be just too strong for the Tigers, dominating possession and eventually coming away with the victory.
Jumper on, Brown gets it away. David Simmons, he's got his 4th
Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
Well, that try wraps up True Kai Sports tonight. Coming up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Taking a quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, partly cloudy with light chances of showers expected in the nation's capital and Popondetta. In Momase, all centres mostly fine except Lae, partly cloudy with chances of light showers. In the New Guinea Islands, rain expected in Buka. And lastly, in the islands region, all centres partly cloudy, then morning fog. Now, before we go, the baton made its way into its last stop, the National Capital District, before the opening ceremony of the 2015 Pacific Games. Over the next 4 days, the baton will make its way in and around Port Moresby City, where residents of the nation's capital can be a part of the All Search Pacific Games baton relay.
The All Search Pacific Games baton, after 95 days of traveling the country, was to enter the last province before the Games, the National Capital District. The baton travelled to Manaput Island, a few miles off of Vela Beach, where 3 traditional lakatois were waiting in anchor in the calm waters. The 3 lakatois took off under sail and with a little help from the surrounding flotilla of banana boats. In traditional times, the lakatois were trading vessels, leaving the central province and sailing to the Gulf to trade clay pots and goods for food. This was to ensure food for the central villages throughout their dry season. And after many months at sea, returning home, sailing on the trade winds, when the vessel was seen on the horizon, the ladies of the village would koi on the beaches and call the names of the lakatoi, for there was great celebration as their men were returning. That was exactly the welcome received when the 3 lakatois, built especially for this journey at Gaire, Parabara and Lealea villages, when they arrived at the beach. Young girls from the Motuan villages in full traditional dress danced on the main platforms, crowds gathering in sing-sing groups from other Koitabuan villages dancing alongside as the boats landed on the shore carrying the baton. It was greeted by the governor of Central Province and presented to the chairman of the Motu Koitabu, who in turn passed it on to the governor of NCD.
This is an opportunity to showcase the culture and pride of the Hiri tradition, to welcome the Games baton.
With the official ceremony completed, the various sing-sing groups continued the entertainment, and the Hiri Hanenamos continued to koi well into the morning. The All Search baton relay continues during the afternoon with a relay through the Motuan villages in Port Moresby.
Beautiful shots of the Lagatoi. We'll take a quick recap of our main stories tonight before we go. PNG Law Society requests to be part of investigations in SPS Dateline story. Also, government plans to expand cities and towns, and state-of-the-art Games Village open today. Well, that's been the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi. Have a pleasant working week. Good night.